What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, the Sports Dr. Spot, coming at you with a sports story on this good Saturday night. Now, we all know Thursday was the NFL draft, and one of the biggest surprises and one of the biggest drops that I've ever seen in NFL history happened to quarterback Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. Now, we know Shedeur Sanders is the son of the great Deion Sanders. It was a projected first-round pick, and in some people's draft boards might have been a top 2 or 3 pick. He could have been picked that high and ended up dropping to the 5th round. So we're going to get me and Stephen A. Smith opinion on this right now. So without any further ado, take it away, Stephen. This is my reaction to what Stephen A. Smith has to say. Follow Stephen A. Smith on YouTube, too. Very interesting.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this special edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. I'm getting right into it because I'm off on this particular Saturday, but I had to make sure I let my thoughts be known, okay? Because we're going to get started with the story that made headlines all over, all the sports networks overnight, and then some. And that was the NFL draft and the precipitous slide of quarterback Shedeur Sanders, son of primetime Deion Sanders, who many considered the second best quarterback in January. Sanders was just picked by the Cleveland Browns as the 144th selection of the 5th round overall. Shedeur wasn't drafted in round 1 on Thursday. He wasn't drafted on Friday during rounds 2 and 3, and teams passed on him again earlier this afternoon in round 4. So here's a look at all the quarterbacks that have been taken so far. Cam Ward went number 1 overall to Tennessee. Then the Giants picked Jackson Dart with the 25th overall pick, a pick they moved up to get, by the way. They moved up to get that pick. Round 2 began last night, and the first quarterback taken was Tyler Shuck, who went to the New Orleans Saints with the 40th overall pick. Then in round 3 to Seattle, the Seahawks took Jalen Milroe from Alabama with the 92nd overall pick. And then 2 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Dillon Gabriel with the 94th overall pick in the 3rd round, and there were no more quarterbacks taken on Friday.
5 quarterbacks taken the highest.
Those are the 5 quarterbacks that went ahead of Shedeur Sanders. And before I give you my feelings on this, I want to show you the 5 quarterbacks the Browns now have on their roster. The quarterback room now includes Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, the aforementioned Dillon Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, who is injured with his Achilles tear, and of course now Shedeur Sanders. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's bad when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is pushing out tweets about how corrupt it is. I mean, think about that. President Donald Trump is pulling out tweets about how corrupt it is and how these owners look absolutely stupid or ill-advised. And I don't know about y'all, but I want y'all to listen before I get into it to my man Mel Kiper Jr. of ESPN, who is going off about Shedeur Sanders being snubbed because he had Sanders as arguably the best quarterback in this draft. Listen to what this man had to say.
First of all, they say Donald Trump, who is supposedly a racist. I don't know him. I don't know Donald Trump personally. You just say he's a racist, but he has racist tendencies. And I am going to talk about race when it comes to this because it has definitely racial undertones. Got to show the brass Negro who's boss. Basically, this is what happened here. Okay? So Donald Trump, who is supposed to be a racist, is letting you know how corrupt and racist the NFL truly is. And why I'm considering not ever even fucking with the NFL no more. Go ahead.
The NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that. How many times? They say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterback. They don't.
You heard what he had to say. Let me tell you something right now. This is some bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to say that while in the same breath conceding and acknowledging that Shedeur Sanders is not blameless here. Primetime Deion Sanders is not blameless here. I'm going to say what I have to say, knowing that both of them have their hands at least a little bit dirty in all of this. But if you're the National Football League, okay, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion.
Exactly. I kind of disagree with what Stephen A. Smith said about them being blameless. This kid don't get into no trouble. Okay? So what, he's brash and cocky. It's funny when black people in this country seem to have any type of confidence or are able to walk up and stand up like a fucking man. It's a problem. It's a problem that this dude daddy raised him to be his own fucking man, and now he's got to pay for it. This is bullshit.
Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on them? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on them. How the hell does that happen? 4 rounds. It doesn't happen to a quarterback. We've never seen anything like this before. We've seen guys drop because of injuries. We've seen guys drop because of off-field issues, but we've never seen a quarterback projected to be a top 20 pick, universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft, projected to be a first rounder, in all likelihood a safe bet of a late first rounder, and drop literally to the 5th round. We haven't seen anything like that.
I've had them shown in the top 10.
And when you're talking about the owners, I'm going to keep in mind, and I tweeted about this, seems very Kaepernick-like, as in Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've said on many occasions the man brought it on himself, because once he was exiled from the sport because of taking a knee during the national anthem and you just irritating all the quote-unquote patriots out there as American citizens, I said, you know something? He didn't violate any bylaws. He didn't violate any laws. He didn't interfere with what transpired once kickoff time arrived.
Didn't hurt no fucking body.
But still in all, he had an opportunity to get back in the NFL. All he had to do was show up to that workout that the league had organized at the Atlanta Falcons practice facility, but he didn't show up to that.
That's because you can't trust the National Football League. And the National Football League is showing right now how fucking dirty it is. Colin Kaepernick just knew it a while ago. That's why he wanted them to come to his workout. And nothing set up by the National Football League. Now, I understand that it's their league. Okay? It's their league, and if they schedule a workout, maybe you should come to it, but these people are just not to be trusted. They're not. Look at what they're doing right in front of us right now.
And as a result, 2 hours beforehand, had everybody trying to come to a high school football field 120 minutes away. 2 hours away. So guess what? You did that to yourself. That was not Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders with the watch. Shedeur Sanders with his bravado. Shedeur Sanders with this supposed arrogance or whatever. He still balled. He still threw for over 4,100 yards. Still threw for 37 touchdowns. Still threw for just 10 interceptions. Still proved himself to be one of the better quarterbacks in football. Tremendous pause, pocket presence, accuracy, throwing the damn football. Didn't have great wheels. Doesn't have great athleticism, but the brother can play. I certainly never heard of no damn Dylan Gabriel or Tyler Shock. What the hell is that? I didn't hear about them. So how is Shedeur Sanders going behind them? I'll tell you how. It's collusion. And why do I bring up Kaepernick? Because I keep reminding everybody that the owners, I'll never forget this as long as I live. The owners in the National Football League are very big on control. And Colin Kaepernick's position really railed them. it really riled them up, irritated them, because even though they received a check for over $246 million a piece because of their TV rights deal, they were mad it wasn't 250 to 255. They blamed Colin Kaepernick. They said he compromised their bottom line. That's what they said. They got a check for $246 million a piece and were still complaining about the $5 million they missed out on because of him. In their estimation, no proof of that, just speculating that was Colin Kaepernick.
It's fucking ridiculous.
So if these are who they are, if these are the kind of people that they are, this is where Deion Sanders' hands get a little bit dirty. Because we know he's the greatest cornerback that ever lived. We know he's arguably the greatest athlete we've ever seen. We know that the man is a football savant. We also know that he's box office. The camera, the lens, it gravitates to him. He has that kind of magnetic effect. And because he let you know that he believed in his son, because he let you know what his son could do, because he let you know that he damn sure was going to keep an eye on things and he was going to have a voice in the proceedings, because he alluded to, if I don't like where my son is, that's not where we're going and stuff like that. It's entirely plausible that the owners were like, who the hell do you think he is? You don't run this shop, we do. Because
right, nigga, sit down and throw the football or whatever. Shut up and just throw the football. Shut up and dribble. Whatever. These people are worried about their bottom line, but it's mostly the people that they have banning helping them make this type of money. I wish that we could all just get together and get our own league together, pretty much. Just separate from the National Football League. That would be something the two nickels I'd be rubbed together. I'd like a bunch of us to pretty much try to put that together for these guys to play in, and that money comes back into the community that is pretty much making the National Football League. I'm not trying to make it exclusive, because if white people want to come play in the league and not get treated like a slave, they could come on over. Come on over to death row, as Suge would say. If you don't want to be in a league that dismisses your talent because you did something to upset them, come on over to death row. That's really how I'm feeling like we should pretty much do black people. We're, I don't know, probably about 70% of the National Football League. And if we show like that we're black man with confidence, if you walk around like you got a nut sack between your legs, they do this shit to you. When you're your own motherfucking man, this is how they treat black people. Then black men are treated so fucked up in this country that they do shit to us and then be like, look, there's the angry black man. Fuck that. If you didn't fuck with us, we wouldn't be angry. Just like when you get upset about something as a man, you stand on your own too. This is what they don't like in the NFL. And if you a man and show that you got a nut sack between your legs in the NFL, they do this shit to you. It's bullshit.
Because these owners are like that. But ultimately, we got to get to Shedeur Sanders himself. Because I spoke to some executives, giving me some background, because they didn't like some of the things that they were seeing. And when they talked about it, they said stuff like him sending out tweets tagged with #legendary.
Because he has confidence.
They talked about him appearing to have more of an interest in his own brand, and that he thinks about that more than he thinks about the team or the league.
How would you know? You've never been his teammate.
They talked about if he was more buttoned up, and all about ball and team as opposed to himself, he would have fallen no later than number 21 in the draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Instead, he fell to 144, and they call it a minimum of a $30 million mistake.
He should sue for that.
That's what they said.
He should sue the league for that money.
They also pointed out how it was the perfect year to come out in the quarterback class because it's the lightest, weakest quarterback class in a long time. So a late 1 pick could easily turn into a top 10 because of position and need. But that didn't happen with him because of his bravado, his brand, his swagger, etc. Now you have people talking about how he possibly should just sue the NCAA to get his eligibility back.
No
possibly
need.
Pay Ryan Day or somebody so he could throw the ball to Smith for 1 year and then re-enter the NFL draft, rather. I don't know what the possibilities or likelihood of that happening. But basically, between primetime Deion Sanders' natural bravado, coupled with that of his son, they say that the whole interview process wasn't that impressive. When he showed up at the NFL scouting combine and refused to work out, that hurt him. The interview process while he was there hurt him, etc., etc. You know what, y'all? I get it. It makes perfect damn sense if he's drafted in the 2nd round. It's the fact that he fell to 5th.
I kind of agree with that.
So in other words, you're willing to collectively send that kind of message, and don't act like it wasn't a collective effort. For all we know, teams collectively, meaning owners, had come to the conclusion nobody's going to touch him in the first 4 rounds. All right, now that the round 5 is here, our message has been sent, so y'all could go about the business of sort of lifting the embargo, for lack of a better phraseology. I don't know what the hell happened. All I know is this: it's freaking unfair. It ain't right.
It's all the way fucked up.
I understand that Shedeur Sanders is a kid and may have some things to learn. I understand that you have to move a little bit with a little bit more discretion. That you don't want to stick out your chest and bloviate about who you are, who your daddy is, and et cetera, et cetera. I get that part. I understand that.
Yeah, you still kind of have to be their boy. The problem is Deion Sanders and his kids ain't trying to be nobody's boy. Because their brand can make the league money, can make their teams money, and them being able to stand on their own nuts, everybody can make money together. But no. I'm telling you, it's like whenever we try to be just us and not just exactly what they want us to be, we gotta go through the bullshit.
But the kid doesn't get in any trouble.
It's a good
he can
kid.
Ball, and he's healthy. And there were numerous teams from Cleveland to New York to New Orleans to Pittsburgh to LA and various other places who needed quarterbacks. And you're going to tell me you don't take this kid until the 5th round? You're going to tell me that you're going to take a Dylan Gabriel and a Tyler Shook before him? You're going to tell me that? But we want to pride ourselves on being the league of merit? To the National Football League, I'm not talking about Roger Goodell in the league office, to the owners. Do you have any idea how bad you look? You understand that you've given credence to arguments against you involving collusion and stuff like that more so than ever before? Do you realize what you've done? Because his talent is not a 5th round talent. There's absolutely positively no excuse for waiting until the 5th round to take a quarterback who can play better than most quarterbacks available in the draft with the number of teams needing a quarterback. Y'all did this. And I just think it's sad that it happened. Shiloh and Shedeur were dancing after he got picked by the Browns. That was a good video to see. Go to Twitter to check out their draft celebration dance. All of that's good. And I'm glad that it hasn't shattered his spirits. And to be quite honest with you, Shedeur Sanders should be able to go into Cleveland. I mean, there's Joe Flacco there and Kenny Pickett. I think that's a job you could potentially win.
Quite possibly.
But my Lord, for him to have to go through that is so wrong. And I know it's not just the owners, it's team executives, and they're micromanaging every little thing and looking at your attitude. It can't be about you. It can't be about team. How about it being about production? How about that? How about it being about a brother that knows he can play, that knows he comes from a pristine pedigree? And me personally, no matter what folks want to say about Shedeur Sanders, you're hearing noise about him having taken out some loan, assuming he was going to be drafted in the first round and anticipating and already counting his money and stuff like that. I'm not judging this kid like that. I don't know if that's true or not, first of all. And secondly, even if it was, so what? He's a kid.
Thank you.
He's a young adult. Chill out. What really bothers me is that I think a lot of this was because of Deion Sanders. I think a lot of this was about a message to his father. I think a lot of this was about, hey, you'll never run this. This is us. We ain't even hire you as a coach in the National Football League. What makes you think you gonna have that kind of say? Oh, by the way, we hire, we draft your son, and then all of a sudden we gonna hear noise turning around on how you want to coach the team eventually. We don't need that kind of problem. Yeah, that's one of the things that people could point to. Let me tell y'all what I think the other is. A complete and utter lack of appreciation for what primetime Deion Sanders has done for the game of football. Primetime Deion Sanders had more swag, more bravado than anybody you could ever imagine. What else he do? All the brother did was go out there and perform at a very, very elite level, bring pizzazz and sizzle to your product, helping it grow into this multi-billion-dollar brand.
It's kind of what I said earlier.
Has a great relationship with the commissioner, has a great relationship with a bevy of players and coaches in the National Football League, knows the sport backwards and forwards. And because of his swag and his bravado or whatever, y'all gonna turn against him. How about y'all should have drafted Shedeur Sanders earlier because of that alone? I'm not talking about at the expense of his skill. I know he's got to have skill. That's not what I mean.
But he's got the skill.
I'm saying, rather than look at all of those things as a negative, how about looking at it as a positive? You got a primetime Deion Sanders. His son is going to be motivated to perform at a higher level. He is all about performing at a higher level. He would be in his son's ear, imploring him to listen to his coaches, imploring him to play better, imploring him to be dedicated and focused and on point. Did you ever think about that? Of course not.
They did, but because it came from Deion.
As times change, they remain the same. Young kid, privileged to be raised by a father who's universally recognized as one of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen, and a champion, by the way. He's still black. We don't like his brashness. We don't like his absence of humility. We got to teach him a lesson because we got to make sure he understands under all circumstances we still run.
It's not a lack of humility. It's just
We're
confidence.
The bosses, and we can put our foot on your neck any damn time we want to. That's what happened to Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders over the last few days, spanning 5 rounds and 143 picks. That's what happened. It was a check hook. Stay in your lane. Know your position. This is the National Football League. You ain't running a damn thing this way. You will be humble. You will conduct yourself with humility. Nothing is given to you. Everything is earned. And even then, we'll decide whether we want to give it to you or not. That's how they treated Shedeur Sanders. And I find it very, very difficult to believe that the people who would do that would feel the need to have the energy to do this to a kid straight out of college. That kind of energy That kind of message,
Give
that
slave
insatiable
master.
appetite to send and cement that kind of imprint on this young man has to be, at least to some degree, about his father. And let me tell y'all something about Deion Sanders real quick. He is confident as hell, supremely so. There's very little you could tell him.
Carries himself like a fucking
Because
man.
the brother is smart. He studied. He's learned. And he's sincere with what comes out of his mouth.
Like a man.
But I'm going to tell y'all something about Deion Sanders real quick. For the moment, I don't give a damn about his greatness as a player. I want to tell you about him as a man. He is a great man. Is he always right? No. Does he always say the right thing? No, he does not. Was it wise for him to sit up there and indicate that his son will be, he ain't gonna be someplace where his son ain't gonna be someplace where he doesn't want him to be before the NFL draft? No, that was not wise. But what he's meant to the NFL, what he's meant to professional athletes, as young men on the come up, and the lives that he has touched along the way, and how much better he has assisted in helping the NFL become because of it. He deserved better than this. Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion, was targeted because primetime Deion Sanders was targeted. He'll be all right because he has a strong faith in God, just like primetime Deion Sanders, his daddy, has taught him to have. But I'm speaking to all of y'all out there as a man who knows primetime Deion Sanders, who's a friend of Deion Sanders, who Deion Sanders has reached out and touched and imparted words of wisdom and support and strong love at times, tough love at times, with yours truly. He is a great man. What happened to Shedeur Sanders,
Fucking disgrace.
in part, not totally, but in part, was a direct assault on Deion Sanders. He did not deserve this. His son didn't deserve it. His play didn't deserve this. His production didn't deserve this. His projected skill set didn't deserve this. His accomplishment didn't deserve this. And his pedigree didn't deserve it. Because say what you will about Deion Sanders, he has never taken from the game. He has only given to it. And for Shedeur Sanders to be treated like this, I found myself so sad. Because in my soul, having not spoken to primetime Deion Sanders in the last several weeks, having not spoken to him, but knowing him the way that I do, although he has the strongest faith in God and a strong belief in his son, I know there's a part of him who intimately knows that what was done in his son dropping to the 5th round was a direct assault on him. It's America at its worst. It's the powers that be showing you that old adage that I ripped from Mission Impossible #1, when they were looking for Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt, and they turned around and said, this ain't complicated. You find their soft spot and you squeeze. You can't touch primetime Deion Sanders. You can't shake his confidence, his innate belief in himself and what he's doing and how to go about doing it. So to rattle him, you targeted his son. That is my opinion. I'm not saying that's all it was. Certainly, Shedeur Sanders could have done things better interview process, a bit more humility, according to people in the NFL, etc. I get that. And no, he was not better than Cam Ward. And maybe, just maybe, Jackson Dart was the right pick for the Giants to make. But when 32 teams select to pass on a quarterback that was projected as a top 2 quarterback in the entire draft for nearly 5 complete rounds, that ain't about football.
It's about putting a nigga in their place.
It's about what the hell I just spent the last 20, 25 minutes or so telling you. And it's a damn shame.
Yeah, and I know I'll probably lose subscribers over this, the very few I have, but okay. I end up losing subscribers over this. And I expect a lot of people to have a lot of things to say about what I had to say in this video. And I don't care. I don't care. This was flat out showing them that, boy, we in charge of your slave ass, because I feel like all 32 owners in the NFL are no better than the slave master. Nigga, you gonna act the way we want you to act, and that's what it's gonna be. Now, Stephen A. can't say it like me, and I might get in trouble for saying it. I might lose this little bitty YouTube channel for saying it. But fuck it. I'm gonna say what I want to say. You know, and Stephen A. can't put it because he actually has a big channel and he works for Disney, so he can't really put it like I put it. Now, I have a job where I could get in trouble because I work with snitch bitches too that might show them this video and then I get in trouble at work. But fuck it. Fuck it. I'm having a hard time fucking with the NFL after this, and I live in Detroit, Michigan, where we finally have a team that's a Super Bowl contender and everybody's real hyped about it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it this year. Just off of this. Because I'm not down with the mistreatment of not only my people, but other minorities. I ain't down with that. And the way they did Shedeur Sanders is a complete fucking disgrace. Y'all go ahead and leave what y'all feel in the comment section. I don't really block people. You can troll and say whatever you want, and I'll try to respond to everybody that I can about this video. You won't get blocked. You can say everything you want to about me and about this video, or you can also be on my side. I appreciate the love too. Like, share, and subscribe if you will. And if you decide that I've offended you and you don't want to subscribe no more, peace out. Or if you're going to be a former subscriber, peace out, I understand. But sometimes it's not about the silliness with me. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm glad he did finally get picked. I hate that they had to make an example out of this young kid who's been a good person. I hate that. Anyway, this is your boy, the Sports Dr. Spock. I am gone.